The scene transitions to an intimate beach conversation between two characters discussing an embarrassing kiss. The mood is lighthearted as they share compliments and playful banter about talents and humility. They discuss a previous bet made at a gym competition. One character claims victory through an indirect win against a mutual opponent. This leads to playful debate about the validity of the claim and the rules of their bet. The conversation has flirty undertones despite the logical argument. The scene moves to a private server where an intimate encounter occurs. One character insists on maintaining secrecy about their interaction and makes it clear this is a one-time event. They discuss leaving the server and future training plans with renewed confidence. The setting abruptly shifts to a mysterious morgue scene. A character wakes up confused on a cold table, surrounded by cryptic signs about bodily fluids and cadavers. This creates an unsettling atmosphere as they try to make sense of their surroundings. A moral dilemma is presented involving a life or death button choice with a 1/7 chance of saving someone and 6/7 chance of death. The character chooses to risk their life to save their loved one, showing their selfless nature. The scene reveals itself to be a dream as the character wakes up in class. Their professor scolds them for sleeping and warns about potential disciplinary actions. This highlights ongoing academic struggles and sleep issues. After class, the character checks their messages. They discuss plans for an upcoming fancy dinner at Boyle Mansion with someone named Alex, emphasizing its importance for gathering information about powerful figures and maintaining a professional relationship. The messages continue with various friends including Dahlia, Penelope, and Nova. Topics range from casual photo sharing to quirky conversations about gaming quotes. These interactions show normal social connections despite earlier unusual events. The final conversation involves an invitation to a Day of the Dead celebration from Luna and her family. The exchange ends with her father joining the conversation about making tacos, suggesting growing cultural connections and acceptance into their family circle. A casual conversation about tacos takes place, with an emphasis on spicy food preferences. The discussion reveals a shared love for extra spicy tacos connecting to Mexican cultural pride. The exchange includes playful banter about spice tolerance levels and upcoming taco plans. Plans for a Day of the Dead celebration are discussed, with excitement about potential costume possibilities. The event is noted as something not to be missed and worth marking on the calendar. A lighthearted exchange about beach plans and swimwear occurs, followed by a gaming reference to Eternum, where someone is making impressive progress conquering territory in the game. A friend seeks fashion advice for an important dinner with their date's parents, specifically about tie selection. The interaction shows support and confidence building between friends preparing for a significant social event. The scene shifts to someone returning home for an Eternum gaming session. A conversation begins about a planned date, revealing anticipation and preparation, including a notice about hair changes inspired by their gaming avatar. Details about a special date in the Andromeda server of Eternum are discussed. The plan involves visiting a space resort designed for couples, with various activities including theaters and zero-gravity rooms. The date is arranged using a new player promotion for free access. The narrative moves into the actual Eternum gaming environment, with players accessing the special server location for their date. The atmosphere builds excitement for exploring this new virtual space together. At AstroCorp in the game, a virtual host named Maria welcomes the couple and begins explaining the available experiences. The company is described as specializing in relationship-building activities since 2022, offering various dating and relationship enhancement options. Information about the Andromeda server is shared, revealing its massive scale with over 30,000 star systems and unique planets. The server is described as boundless, with FTL space launchers enabling extensive exploration opportunities. The experience concludes with details about AstroCorp's services and facilities, including a space station located 250 miles above Nox 7. The description of molecular teleportation adds a sci-fi element to their dating adventure. Two people are having an enthusiastic conversation about their upcoming experience at a space station. The excitement is palpable as they prepare to use a teleporter for what is described as a one-way trip. They can only return via a transport ship or teleporter in the station hangar. After teleporting, they arrive at the space station and are immediately struck by the stunning views of comets. They playfully discuss wishing rules, with one claiming expertise. The conversation reveals that while the server is impressive, its true potential requires owning a spaceship, which is quite expensive, ranging from $500 to $700,000. They are welcomed to the USCSS Icarus by Katniss, who introduces them to various entertainment options. These include a zero-G room with a 3-hour wait, cinema showing Interstellar and Hot Tub Time Machine 2, 4D bowling lanes, an ice rink, and a planetarium offering views of Andromeda. They decide to watch Interstellar, choosing seats in the middle of the theater since the rear seats are reserved. The theater impresses with its massive speakers and real 3D technology. They get snacks and settle in for the movie, which proves to be an emotional experience, particularly affecting Annie. Moving on to the zero-G experience, they encounter some facility issues due to staff shortages and strikes. They are directed to use employee cabins as changing rooms and are instructed to wear tight-fitting zero-G suits for their 15-minute session. The zero-G experience begins as they enter a large room. Initially confused about the lack of sensation, they discover they need to jump to experience the weightlessness. Once floating, they compare it to scuba diving in air and have an impromptu race to the wall. During their zero-G experience, they share a meaningful moment discussing their friendship and experiences in Eternum. One expresses gratitude for having someone to share these experiences with after feeling alone for years. The conversation shifts to life in Kredon, described as a small but welcoming town. There is discussion about feeling welcomed by new family members named Nancy, Penelope, and Dahlia, with appreciation expressed for the sisterly bonds being formed in this new home. A conversation takes place about body image insecurities. Someone expresses feeling intimidated by beautiful women with certain physical attributes. The other person reassures them that petite body types are equally attractive and appreciated by many, including themselves. This leads to some playful banter and blushing. The conversation shifts to discussing school life. Someone mentions having some unfriendly classmates, but finding comfort in their friendship with Luna, who helps with math homework. They are offered additional academic help, with a playful reference to being a genius. An artificial gravity experience ends at a space station. The participants adjust to feeling their weight again as gravity returns. One person needs help standing and is carried, leading to playful banter about strength and weight. They observe stellar nebulae, described as massive clouds of gas and dust spanning hundreds of light years. They discuss visiting the planetarium later as a grand finale to their experience, deciding to explore the station first. A private moment develops between two people while changing clothes, building on their decade-long relationship and trust. The scene maintains appropriate boundaries while acknowledging their growing connection. The situation takes an unexpected turn when an unidentified biological agent is detected. Security locks activate and quarantine procedures begin. The atmosphere becomes tense as lights go out and temperatures drop dramatically. Someone finds warm clothes, including a space captain outfit. They discover an old intercom device used for recording voice memos, similar to personal audio diaries, reflecting a trend of vintage tech popularity. An audio log from Isaac Langston reveals details about working for Ulysses Corporation as an aerospace maintenance engineer. The recording discusses the company's focus on realism and immediate maintenance response requirements. A concerning encounter occurs with a disturbed individual named Vassal, who speaks cryptically about eggs and being chosen. They refuse to open a locked door unless someone retrieves an egg from the laboratory, creating a tense situation. The scene opens with discussion of retrieving a glowing egg from the botanical garden. There is hesitation about leaving the current location, but determination to make the journey, despite concerns about someone named Banny's safety. Audio log 42 reveals a disturbing discovery at A Centaur station. A rehabilitation center for patients was found, with its entire crew brutally murdered. The scene was described as extremely gruesome, with blood and bodies everywhere, raising questions about who could commit such violence in a non-combat facility. A tense encounter occurs with Commander Hasler of the Galactic Union's 2nd Brigade. After a cautious standoff, he explains the station is under attack from what may be a spreading plague in Andromeda. He offers to help access a blocked door in exchange for planting an explosive in the generator room. The protagonist must choose between helping Vassal get an egg or assisting Commander Hasler with the explosive. Though neither option seems fully trustworthy, Hasler appears more reliable since he provided a weapon. In the generator room, there's an encounter with Katniss, who explains how one of the creatures burst from someone's chest in the infirmary. A small alien creature attacks, but is caught mid-air. The creature appears eyeless and had attacked others previously, as evidenced by a found audio card. Audio logs 43 and 48 reveal an investigation into the AG Centaur incident. Bodies were found with chest wounds suggesting something broke out from within. Research into similar attacks on the Andromeda server showed multiple incidents in non-combat areas. Audio log 67 describes a horrific transformation where facehuggers attacked people who found strange eggs. One victim had to be killed to prevent spread. An AstroChart ID card discovery suggests connection to a dating service on a nearby station. The narrative concludes with a confrontation where Hasler reveals these creatures have existed for 10 years. He mentions Dr. Mercer and eggs before unexpectedly turning violent, leaving many questions unanswered about the true nature of the situation. A tense situation unfolds where someone needs to escape a dangerous place. There are concerns about a door code and instructions to find someone and leave before an imminent explosion. The scene is chaotic with blood everywhere as the search continues for someone named Annie. A dramatic reunion occurs between Orion and Annie. Annie is found in a distressed state, repeating a mantra about not seeing threatening entities. Orion reassures Annie that he would never abandon her and encourages her to leave the dangerous location together. A teleporter is discovered as a potential escape route. However, it requires 300 seconds to charge. While waiting, they find an audio diary from an engineer named Isaac, who left a disturbing final message about deadly creatures before taking his own life to avoid being captured. The situation becomes dire as threatening creatures appear. The pair tries to avoid looking at them while waiting for the teleporter to charge. The creatures are described as extremely fast, agile, strong, and intelligent. Multiple entities surround them, creating an increasingly dangerous situation. An unexpected shift occurs as they suddenly find themselves in what appears to be a customer service area of AstroChart. The transition is jarring, going from a life-threatening situation to a bizarrely normal corporate environment. Staff members attempt to get feedback about their experience. The survival mystery is revealed. A magical pendant of destiny, purchased earlier from a merchant named Chop Chop, saved their lives from the explosion in Aliens. The pendant vanishes after serving its purpose, proving to be more than just a simple trinket. The aftermath reveals this was all part of an eternal session gone wrong. What started as a romantic date turned into a survival horror scenario. They report to staff that aliens invaded the station and killed everyone, likely destroying the facility in the process. Despite the terrifying experience, Annie surprisingly considers it the best date ever. She appreciated the romantic moments they shared, from floating among stars to Orion's heroic actions. The intimate moments they shared in a room were also highlighted as special. The scene shifts to preparations for an exclusive meeting involving senior officials and holders of the Gems of Doom. Multiple characters, including Penelope, Luna, Nova, and Delia, discuss various topics from costume parties to betting habits, revealing complex relationships and future plans. The final segment involves interesting dynamics between characters, particularly regarding relationships and social status. There are discussions about Instagram DMs from models and influencers, and preparations for an upcoming important mission involving gathering information about mysterious figures like Dantos and Ulysses. A casual conversation takes place about ambitious plans involving Gems of Doom and having one's face painted on headquarters walls. The tone is lighthearted as participants discuss becoming new leaders, though one suggests the expectations might be too high. The conversation shifts to a family matter involving Aunt Cordelia's upcoming 65th birthday celebration. A photo collage project is proposed, requiring sorting through family albums to find 100 best pictures. However, this gets interrupted when participants suddenly remember an important seminar registration deadline. Annie offers to help with the photo collage project, despite not knowing Aunt Cordelia. The group moves to the living room to begin logging into an online system called Return Home on the Rockefeller server. The scene transitions to a luxurious mansion setting worth millions. A participant wearing a well-fitted tuxedo acknowledges Penelope's help in securing suitable attire. They begin searching for Alex in the maze-like mansion grounds. At the mansion entrance, an NPC staff member checks the guest list and explains the mask ball rules. All guests must wear masks during the event, while staff members, who are revealed to be non-human NPCs, remain unmasked. The interaction with a Praetorian security guard creates tension due to their intimidating presence. While searching for Alex, a surprise scare leads to a playful moment between friends, with promises of future revenge. Alex shares memories of her childhood home in Wales and time spent with her grandmother before her passing from cancer. The conversation reveals some family dynamics and emotional distance. Compliments are exchanged about Alex's transformation into a high society appearance, though it's noted that her true self with tattoos is preferred. She explains her experience hiding tattoos with makeup for formal events. The pair discuss their mission strategy, including gathering intelligence about Gems of Doom, weapons of Atlas, and Athetos. They plan to blend in by letting others talk about themselves while carefully extracting information. The scene ends with tension as someone unexpected appears at the mansion, leading to concern about their safety given the presence of hostile guards and individuals who had previously caused them harm. A powerful being named Calypso arrives at an event through a portal, wearing copied attire from other elite attendees. Though initially unfamiliar with modern fashion, she expresses satisfaction with the high society style. There are hints of a possible blood relation between Calypso and Alexandra, though this remains uncertain. Calypso explains she is there to gather information about gems of power while also learning about her realm. The group discusses logistics of Calypso's appearance at the event. She demonstrates impressive magical abilities by creating a mask and changing her distinctive turquoise hair color at will. This transformation ability amazes the others. They agree to meet after the event, with Calypso showing growing confidence in her recovered powers. The scene shifts to an incredibly luxurious venue, the Boyle Mansion. A servant informs them that the founder and Lady of Eternum will appear at 11 p.m. The setting is described as ostentatious, designed to showcase wealth and status. Some attendees feel out of place among the obvious displays of affluence. The group discovers incredibly high-quality sushi at the event. For some, it's their first time trying such luxurious food, leading to enthusiastic reactions. Despite the amazing cuisine, they remind themselves to stay focused on their mission and not get distracted by the extravagant offerings. The group splits up to gather information. They identify key targets, including Dr. DuPont, Lisa Astor, and Mr. Moss, members of Ulysses' board of directors. Each board member is described with their distinct personalities and potential approaches for interaction. The party atmosphere involves gossip and rumors about various elite figures, including stories about someone called Thanthos. The conversation reveals the superficial nature of high society interactions and their obsession with status and scandal. A fascinating discussion about elven biology and society reveals that elves grow steadily until age 60, then maintain their youth for 2,000 to 3,000 years. Some exceptional elves can live beyond 8,000 years. The conversation also touches on elven social customs, particularly regarding age differences and intercaste relationships, which are strictly prohibited in their society. A casual interaction occurs between some people where one offers to help if needed. Someone uses a nickname Callie for a princess, which surprisingly doesn't result in any negative consequences, showing progress in their relationship. The conversation is light and shows growing comfort between the participants. A meeting takes place with Mr. Moss, who recognizes someone as the person who stole a gem from Garrington. Mr. Moss notices details like the non-tailored tuxedo and generously gives 120 internals as a gift to help get it properly tailored, showing unexpected kindness from someone working at Ulysses. The conversation turns to discussing the founder, who is described as an incredibly generous person who could charge monthly fees but chooses not to. The founder is noted to be a private individual who maintains an air of mystery around them. An unpleasant interaction occurs with someone demanding wine and making inappropriate discriminatory comments about programmers. The person complains about service quality and security breaches, particularly focused on how these issues might affect stock prices rather than actual security concerns. Alistair Linus, Zipfer's CTO, introduces a revolutionary prototype that can reconfigure NPC behavior chips in Eternum. The technology allows for manipulation of NPC actions and responses, demonstrating its capabilities through an uncomfortable example with a service worker NPC. The prototype discussion continues with talk of potential applications, including unauthorized access to confidential information. The price is revealed to be $25 million, causing shock to potential buyers. The conversation is interrupted by William, who criticizes Alistair's business practices. The scene shifts to a philosophical discussion about a statue representing Psyche, the goddess of the soul. The conversation explores deep themes about mortality, godhood, and human limitations. Someone ponders whether humans can transcend mortality and obtain godlike power, particularly in the context of Eternum's unique nature. A discussion about Eternum reveals that while most content is created by the founder and team, there have been some hacker attempts. However, these hackers were unable to modify core aspects like terrain, player abilities, or world rules. The game notably runs without bugs, glitches, or lag, suggesting extensive behind-the-scenes maintenance. A mysterious figure invites someone seeking answers to meet at midnight by the main staircase. This creates confusion and unease, leading the person to feel overwhelmed by all the strange encounters and information being received. They decide to get some fresh air by heading to the gardens to meet Alex. The scene shifts as they spot Alex, narrowly avoiding an encounter with her father who never forgets faces. Her brother was also present as William's guest, appearing noticeably agitated. Alex points out a red star, RW Cephi, visible only 3 days per year from October 15 to 17. This leads to amazement at Eternum's incredible attention to astronomical detail, sparking a discussion about whether Eternum could be more than just a video game, possibly involving magic or supernatural elements. Alex shares personal memories of stargazing with her grandmother, who taught her about constellations. She continued stargazing after her grandmother's passing, using it as an escape when her parents would fight. Despite growing up wealthy, Alex felt trapped by strict social expectations and regulations. Alex reveals a turning point when she rejected her parents' plans for boarding school and the family business. This rebellion led to various acts of defiance, including getting tattoos, which particularly affected her brother Axel. She emphasizes her desire for personal freedom and self-expression. The conversation takes a flirtatious turn as they discuss their growing connection. Playful banter ensues about initial motives versus genuine feelings developing between them. The peaceful night setting, with crickets, full moon, and stars, creates an intimate atmosphere. The scene concludes with a competitive challenge in a garden maze. They playfully debate each other's abilities and set up a race through the maze, with a mysterious prize suggested for the winner. The competition begins with confident claims from both participants about their maze-solving skills. Two people are completing what appears to be a maze challenge or race. One participant reaches the end first, claiming victory, while the other expresses doubt about the legitimacy of the win. There is playful banter between them about who actually won the competition. The two individuals engage in flirtatious dialogue, with subtle teasing and chemistry building between them. They discuss negotiating time together when they are suddenly interrupted by the unexpected arrival of others nearby. A tense family confrontation unfolds between a father and son, Axel. The father reprimands Axel about upholding the Bardo family name and orders him back to the mansion. Their argument hints at deeper family conflicts and expectations. The two original individuals remain hidden while observing the family drama. One admits to leaving their mask at the maze entrance. They share an intimate moment while waiting for others to leave, with increasing romantic tension between them. After their encounter, they discuss keeping their interaction private. A communicator device is exchanged between them, given by someone named Nova. They make plans to return to the party separately. One reflects on their evening together, noting both physical and emotional connections made. They consider the possibility of a deeper relationship developing, particularly noting how the usually reserved Alex showed a softer side. An interesting revelation emerges about the mysterious founder of their organization. Apparently, no one has ever seen them in person, only through memos and pre-recorded videos. This raises suspicions about the founder's true identity. A theory develops that the founder might not actually exist, and could be a cover for whoever truly controls the organization. The conversation is suddenly cut off, possibly due to battery issues with the communicator. The scene concludes with an unexpected encounter with someone who knows details about recent achievements, finding gems of doom, defeating Praetorians, and claiming the weapon of Atlas. The mysterious figure invites them to sit down for a conversation. At a tense meeting, someone is instructed to prepare for departure after finishing business with Mr. Richards. The scene is set for an important confrontation between key players. A pivotal revelation occurs when it's confirmed that one person is indeed the founder and creator of Eternum. The founder explains their ability to track the first discoverer of gems, though ownership transfers become harder to trace. They specifically mention knowing about the Gem of Doom discovery in the red herring. The founder demonstrates extensive knowledge of past events, including restricted server access, the theft of Calypso's creation, and encounters with Praetorians. They express being rarely impressed, noting they can count truly exceptional players on one hand. The Amulet of Blair is offered as a special gift, described as a powerful artifact granting immortality within Eternum. When used, it allows players to respawn at exit portals with their inventory intact. However, this offer is ultimately declined to maintain fair play. The conversation takes a philosophical turn as the founder poses challenging moral questions about fighting for oneself versus others, and whether one would sacrifice innocence to save loved ones. The scene highlights complex ethical dilemmas within the game world. After the founder's departure, Alex arrives and expresses skepticism about the meeting. Despite attempts to explain the significance of the encounter, time constraints force them to cut the conversation short due to growing suspicions from shareholders. Days later, a personal conversation reveals inner conflicts about balancing life priorities, including swimming qualifiers, graduation, college plans, and involvement in Eternum. The speaker reflects on their relationship with someone who brings both chaos and comfort to their life. The scene shifts to a chance encounter between two friends, where one interrupts the other's private thoughts. Their conversation reveals underlying tensions and unspoken feelings about recent events. A private and intimate moment is discussed between friends, highlighting personal experiences and vulnerability. The conversation demonstrates trust and friendship while exploring relationship dynamics. Two sisters meet up at a park. One is dressed up rather suggestively for what she claims is just a casual meetup with their mom at a rooftop pub. They discuss fashion, with Penny wearing hill-bobbed shorts and a Max & Co. shirt. The conversation shifts to tattoos, with Penny expressing interest in getting a minimalist flamingo design on her wrist or ankle. The conversation grows tense as questioning reveals Penny is meeting not just their mom, but also Annie, Nova, and notably Orion at the rooftop pub. This seems to raise suspicions about her dressed-up appearance. The sister decides to tag along to the meetup, despite Penny's hesitation. The scene shifts to a different conversation about sneezing superstitions. There is discussion about someone named Axel, who hasn't been seen since a dinner at Boyle Mansion, with joking speculation about potential sinister reasons for his absence involving contract killers and video game murders. The focus moves to a group meeting where someone's been put in charge of strategy and has prepared an Excel spreadsheet. There's also intrigue around someone who has been secretively drawing something they won't show to others, particularly not wanting Orion to see it until it's finished. The group discusses an anime series called Adornitas, based in the Eternum universe. Two members bond enthusiastically over their shared interest in the show and its character Liza. Nova expresses appreciation for finding friends who share her interests, marking a touching moment of connection within the group. Nancy presents a strategic overview of their situation. Key points include investigating the mysterious founder of Eternum, understanding a group called the Syndicate, and collecting Gems of Doom. They have 1 and need 9 more. The third weapon of Atlas is mentioned as important for gaining power. The group discusses weekend plans, including a Day of the Dead celebration and campus costume party. Nancy assigns tasks. Alex will investigate Ulysses, the founder, through her father. Others will gather Syndicate info at Agora server, while Annie and Luna are tasked with exploring Plains of Denari for a rumored Gem of Tomb. Plans are made for a Sunday morning mission at an office to gather information about Ulysses SIS. The details will be explained closer to the date. The conversation then shifts to discussing a device that could potentially steal inventory from Eternum players. A skilled hacker is already working on developing this capability, needing only to figure out how to link it to an Eternum visor. A humorous moment occurs when one team member who doesn't play Eternum is initially left without a mission. To cheer them up, they are given the important task of buying matching t-shirts for the team. They enthusiastically accept this responsibility, promising to find the perfect shirts. The meeting wraps up as some members prepare to leave while others stay behind. Someone asks to borrow money for a latte, which is generously offered with no expectation of repayment. The group exchanges goodbyes and reminds each other about an upcoming party. An intimate moment develops in a bathroom situation, but is quickly interrupted by someone looking for their mother. The constant interruptions of potentially romantic moments has become a recurring frustration. The scene shifts to someone waiting at an intersection of Spruce and Alder, realizing they forgot to bring wine as a gift for Mr. Hernandez. Music can be heard in the distance as cars pass by. Victor Hernandez arrives and greets warmly, insisting on dropping formalities. He makes some questionable claims about having a son who died of smallpox, which his daughter Luna quickly corrects. The interaction reveals his playful, albeit sometimes confusing personality. What was thought to be a local dinner turns out to be a 10-hour road trip to celebrate Day of the Dead with family 650 miles away. After some concern about conflicting plans for the next day, arrangements are made to return in time for a costume party. The group prepares for their journey in Fierro, Mr. Hernandez's beloved Jeep. Luna has prepared snacks, including a special cake. As they set out, heavy rain begins to fall, with forecasts predicting it will continue until early morning. A group is enjoying the relaxing ambiance during a rainy day. Despite concerns about driving in wet conditions, they decide to proceed with their journey, making light of how the rain might affect their travel speed. After several hours of driving, the group finds themselves somewhat lost in an unfamiliar area. They determine they're on a straight road that extends for 50 miles before passing through some woods to reach their destination. The time is approaching midnight, though the journey has felt quick due to the pleasant company. The group had been listening to a true crime horror podcast during their drive. The podcast features real events from around the country, including a disturbing story about a homicide that occurred on a nearby farm. The abandoned property is rumored to be haunted, though they can't visit due to their schedule. To pass the time, the group decides to play a guessing game similar to 20 questions, but with only 10 questions allowed. The game focuses on guessing people, either fictional or real, living or dead, through yes/no questions. They successfully play multiple rounds, guessing characters named Nova and Idriel. The group spots a gas station, which appears to be the last one before reaching their destination. The station has an eerie, abandoned appearance that reminds them of a horror movie setting. They decide to make a quick stop for fuel and to stretch their legs. While at the station, they notice the surprisingly low gas prices and discuss the peaceful atmosphere created by the rain. Someone expresses a desire to stay in Kredon permanently, mentioning potential future plans, including university studies. The peaceful moment is interrupted when one member of the group begins experiencing strange hallucinations, including exit portals and mysterious whispers. They become increasingly distressed as the hallucinations intensify, leading to a vivid vision of a medieval tavern scene involving a character named Calypso. The episode is revealed to be a case of bleeding, a phenomenon where people who spend excessive time in Eternum begin experiencing hallucinations of the virtual world in reality. The group discusses how this might have been accelerated by intense gaming sessions and high compatibility ratings, though they reassure each other that the condition isn't dangerous. After playing too much of a game, there was a realization about needing to take a break and get some fresh air. During a stop, they discovered an exciting promotion offering 2 free sacks of coal, perfect for an upcoming barbecue. The group decided to head back to their car and continue their journey. Following what seemed to be a concerning incident, everyone felt relieved enough to resume traveling. However, there was reflection on an unexpectedly realistic bleeding experience that felt remarkably lifelike. The incident left such an impression that there were attempts to interact with what may have been a hallucination. After the strange experience, there was agreement that taking a few days' break from playing would be beneficial. There were concerns about similar incidents occurring during dangerous activities like driving or walking downstairs. The scene shifted as Luna fell asleep on the passenger's shoulder. The group arrived at their destination, Uncle Hugo's impressive luxury mansion. There was discussion about how Hugo had previously offered financial assistance to the family's cafe during tough times, but the offer was declined due to pride and stubbornness. This led to reflection on how that determination had ultimately paid off. At the mansion, there was a warm family reunion with playful banter about appearances and accents. A misunderstanding arose when Orion was introduced, with some confusion about whether he was Luna's boyfriend or just a friend who happens to be a boy. Despite the awkward situation, everyone maintained a lighthearted atmosphere. The morning progressed with various family activities being organized. The mother took charge of cooking preparations, while others were assigned tasks like preparing the pool. There was particular attention paid to ensuring everyone would be well fed, with plans made for leftovers to take home. A serious father-son conversation occurred between Victor and Orion about intentions toward Luna. Victor shared insights about Luna's challenging past, including experiences with bullies and losing her mother. The conversation included both heartfelt concern for Luna's happiness and a protective father's warning about not causing harm. While preparing for swimming, there was a moment of self-reflection about physical changes possibly connected to recent activities in the game world. This led to contemplation about whether virtual exercise could impact real-world physical condition. The scene concluded with preparations to join Luna at the pool in the impressive mansion. At a pool gathering, there is noticeable admiration of someone's appearance, particularly noting their gloves and flawless skin. The atmosphere is casual and relaxed as introductions are made between Luna and Orion, with some initial awkward moments. The weather is perfect for swimming, with sunny skies making it ideal for enjoying one of the last warm days of the year. Everyone takes advantage of the nice conditions to enjoy the pool, though there are some amusing moments as someone overestimates their swimming abilities. An unexpected guest appears, Poncho, a rescued chicken from Tijuana who belongs to Luna's uncle. The chicken, saved from illegal cockfighting 4 years ago, has developed an attachment to Luna and enjoys lounging by the pool on a swan float, though it avoids getting in the water. The group discusses food, but there's a warning about not snacking before Grandma's feast. The conversation shifts to noticing physical changes, particularly increased muscle definition despite no recent workouts, leading to compliments being exchanged about appearances. The conversation turns to language abilities, with Luna revealing she speaks both English and Spanish fluently without an accent. Her Spanish-speaking voice is noted to have a musical quality. The discussion creates an engaging cultural exchange moment. A significant moment occurs when Luna is encouraged to remove her gloves while in the pool. Though initially hesitant, she decides to take them off, marking a rare occasion where she feels comfortable enough to do so. This leads to a tender moment of physical contact. The intimate moment is interrupted before anything further can develop, with Luna returning to her pool float. The conversation shifts to appreciating the peaceful mountain surroundings and discussing what life would be like without obligations. Luna's grandmother calls them out of the pool for annual Day of the Dead traditions, including special makeup and dress-up activities. Luna mentions she's made her own dress this year after 4 weeks of sewing, adding a personal touch to the tradition. The scene shifts to some comical chaos involving misplaced food items and a chicken stealing cheese, causing humorous reactions. Meanwhile, preparations continue for the Day of the Dead celebrations. Everyone gets dressed in traditional attire, with Orion being complimented on looking like a true Hernandez in his comfortable country-style clothing. The grandmother makes a touching comparison between Orion and her husband. Orion is instructed to close their eyes and stay quiet to avoid going blind from the paint. Meanwhile, some sad music plays in the background that tells the story of a ghost woman who drowned her children. The face painting proceeds at a surprisingly quick pace. Despite requests to look in the mirror, there is no time as photos need to be taken right away. The painted faces are described as beautiful with different colors including red and green. Everyone gathers to take pictures for the album while someone prepares an ofrenda. Family members get emotional seeing Luna all dressed up, lamenting how fast children grow up. Multiple photos are taken with different poses, including some sweet shots with Luna being held by the waist. The photos are deemed perfect for remembering the occasion. The ofrenda is explained as an improvised altar used during Day of the Dead celebrations to remember those who have passed away. The grandmother takes it very seriously. Someone is invited to join her at the ofrenda while others set the table. At the ofrenda, a photo of Olivia, Luna's mother, is discussed. The physical and personality similarities between Luna and her late mother are noted. The grandmother reveals her family has connections to metaphysical realms, mentioning her sister, who could communicate with the dead. A touching moment occurs as someone addresses Olivia directly at the ofrenda, promising to look after Luna along with her friends and family. The mood shifts as food is announced to be ready. The group moves to enjoy a fantastic meal. During dinner, conversation turns playful with jokes about cartels and human trafficking, which turns out to be just family humor. Old photos of Luna are shared, including one from when she was 11, wearing her signature gloves. Someone confidently tries the extremely spicy tacos made with Carolina Reaper peppers, despite warnings. Their bravado about handling spicy food quickly turns to regret as they struggle with the intense heat, leading to much amusement from others. After the satisfying but intense meal, plans are made for sunbathing on the upstairs terrace. The group discusses timing and cleanup duties while dealing with a surprisingly smart pet chicken named Poncho. The scene shifts to the terrace, which offers beautiful mountain views. There are discussions about future visits, including potential overnight stays and hiking trips. The terrace features a waterproof massage table used for sunbathing after swimming. A casual massage session is initiated during some free time. The offer comes with claims of impressive massage skills, referencing a previous success helping someone named Delia recover from a back injury. The offer is accepted with some playful banter about potential ulterior motives. The massage begins with some initial tension due to cold hands meeting warm skin. The recipient appears nervous about being touched, but gradually begins to relax as the massage continues. The masseuse notices significant muscle tension and suggests regular treatment sessions would be beneficial. The conversation shifts to discussing sunbathing habits and tan lines. A suggestion is made about removing swimwear to avoid tan lines, referencing how models handle this issue. After some initial hesitation, the suggestion is accepted. The atmosphere becomes more intimate as complete trust develops between both parties. The masseuse reflects on feeling special about earning this trust and wanting to maintain a safe, comfortable environment despite the attractive situation. The massage continues with increasing intensity. The recipient appears fully relaxed and receptive, leading to more intimate touching after receiving explicit consent. However, the moment ends abruptly with some awkwardness. After a brief separation, they reunite for a proper goodbye. The day is acknowledged as being special, with discussions about feeling safe and comfortable, sharing personal thoughts and insecurities. The connection between them is clearly meaningful. The encounter culminates in a first kiss, described as perfect despite initial nervousness. They make plans to stay in touch and share a heartfelt goodbye, with visible joy from both parties about how the day turned out. The day concludes with warm farewells to family members, including gratitude for hospitality and participation in family traditions. The drive home is discussed, followed by preparations for an upcoming party and making plans for gaming later. A casual conversation about video games takes place, with a focus on finding action-packed games rather than fishing simulators. The interaction ends with a friendly goodbye as someone needs to leave. A discussion about living arrangements and meeting up occurs. Nova is becoming friends with Penny, Dylan, and Nancy. They exchanged messages about fitness progress, with compliments about looking stronger and discussion of physical changes like hair growth. A playful interaction happens where someone sneaks up on another person. They discuss party preparations, with one person mentioning they have everything ready in their room and their mom will help with hairstyling, needing only 30 minutes to get ready. Nova shares a manga-style comic creation featuring dramatic scenes with characters like Thanatos and Delia. The artwork includes detailed action sequences, combat scenes, and character designs. The recipient shows genuine enthusiasm and appreciation for the artistic effort. After a refreshing shower, preparations for a college party begin. A slightly awkward but humorous bathroom encounter occurs between roommates, discussing party plans and establishing boundaries about shared spaces. Final preparations for the party are made. Nova sends a message about meeting at O'Connor Bridge. The scene concludes with admiration of Penny's costume, which resembles a character named Indriel from Eternum. The costume was obtained through a social media sponsorship. A conversation about cosplay preparations is taking place on a bus. Someone mentions having to dye their hair for an accurate costume, but expresses concern about risking damage since it's important for their modeling career. The space in the bus feels cramped, and brand sponsors seem to underestimate their size requirements. The conversation shifts to discussing a blindfold costume element for the character Idril. The wearer explains they don't wear it constantly, but need it for photos to accurately portray the character. Another person reveals they're dressed as Eros, the Greek god of love and desire. There is a discussion about the accuracy of the Eros costume, noting its missing wings. Someone demonstrates knowledge about Greek mythology, mentioning Eros' background as son of Aphrodite and Ares, and his marriage to Psyche. The costume idea came from a dinner conversation with the founder. The scene changes as they arrive at their destination. Nova is expected to arrive soon. They discuss student housing arrangements, mentioning that all out-of-town students live in nearby apartments. Someone offers to let another stay with them instead of moving to student housing. Nova arrives in an impressive, unrecognizable costume. The group compliments her transformation, particularly noting her eyes give away her identity. They discuss costumes, with some confusion about whether someone is dressed as Orion or Eros, Cupid. Nova explains her costume is Jinx, something she's wanted to cosplay for a while. The costume was partially bought and handmade with help from family. She used special blue hair powder and discusses managing potential eye discomfort during the party. The group arrives at a college party, noting its wild atmosphere with references to passed-out partygoers. They discuss how this is an annual Halloween tradition at the building, which can be loud since there are no neighbors to complain. A private conversation reveals romantic tensions, with one person confessing a crush on Orion despite age differences. This creates an awkward situation, as multiple people might have feelings for the same person. The complexity of friendships and attractions begins to surface. At the party entrance, there's discussion about entrance fees, $49 for non-students, but free for college students. The organizer, Judith, recognizes some participants, but has trouble identifying Nova despite taking classes together. The scene ends with a humorous reference to a cafeteria incident. The party scene opens with introductions between friends. People are mingling and admiring the changing flame effects in the background. Several names are mentioned, including Lilia, Marco, and various friends from journalism class. The atmosphere is casual and festive as people get to know each other. A girl compliments Penelope on her Idriel costume, particularly noting her milk jug props. The interaction takes an awkward turn when another girl drags Penelope away to take photos, citing poor lighting conditions. The abrupt exit leaves others confused about what just happened. Discussion turns to an exciting gaming competition with an amazing prize, a brand new Intel Xeon Dragon X CPU worth over $4,000. The competition requires teams of 2, only one spot remains open. Nova gets super hyped about potentially winning this top-tier processor and runs off to secure a spot. Penelope returns after escaping her photo-seeking fan. While giving a tour of campus facilities, she gets doused with beer when Regina supposedly accidentally spills a bucket on her. This ruins Penelope's costume, forcing her to go change clothes and wash her hair. The incident seems suspiciously intentional. Regina reveals her true colors in a conversation with Orion, speaking negatively about Penelope and suggesting Orion deserves better company. The sabotage of Penelope's costume becomes clearly intentional, showing Regina's mean-spirited nature. Orion defends Penelope against the trash talk. At the gaming competition, participants meet Akira, who is giving away the CPU because she created an even better one. She tests contestants' knowledge about processor packaging. Nova impresses everyone by correctly answering about PGA, SPGA, and SECCC packaging types. The competition rules are explained. 90 minutes, 5 challenges, competing against Haskell and Dolores. The team with most points wins. Stakes are high as both teams talk trash and prepare to battle it out for the valuable CPU prize. The first challenge is revealed as a drinking competition. Teams must drink the most beer in 10 minutes. Nova struggles with low alcohol tolerance while the other team takes the lead. Despite Orion's strong performance, they fall behind by 2 beers with 1 minute remaining. Orion makes the strategic decision to stop drinking, reasoning that staying sober will help them perform better in upcoming challenges. The high alcohol content beer and fast drinking pace are taking their toll, but they maintain focus on the bigger goal of winning the overall competition. When someone comments, it's just giving them a head start. A new challenge called the Hunt is announced. The objective is to find and bring back the largest bra, with teams allowed to use their own. This sets off an interesting dynamic between the competitors. The teams scramble to find Penny, believing she might have the winning bra. However, there is uncertainty since she wasn't wearing one with her costume. The search moves to various locations, including the locker room, where a conversation reveals Penny's costume was ruined earlier by someone who was jealous of her. A light-hearted exchange occurs where Penny agrees to help by lending her bra for the competition. There are amusing remarks about sharing clothes with her mom Nancy, who apparently borrows her items sometimes. The interaction ends with some playful banter about the rest of the evening. The competition moves to its third challenge, called the Polygraph. A special machine called the Kredon ZLF 9000 is introduced, which can detect lies through voice analysis. The device includes an unusual fog feature for ambience. The rules are simple. First team to tell 10 lies in 5 minutes loses. The Polygraph challenge begins with personal questions. Participants share details about their age, education, and personal lives. The machine catches several lies, leading to increasingly uncomfortable revelations about relationships and past experiences. The tension builds as more truths come to light. The game takes an intense turn as relationship histories are exposed. Questions about dating experiences and past relationships create awkward moments. The polygraph continues to catch lies, causing friction between participants. The atmosphere becomes increasingly tense as more personal details are revealed. The challenge reaches its climax with a major revelation about one participant's personal life, leading to surprised reactions from others. The scene ends with mixed emotions as personal boundaries are pushed and unexpected truths come to light. The competitive atmosphere is overshadowed by the personal nature of the revelations. The scene begins with a tense moment as some participants appear frustrated with technical issues involving the Kredon machine. Nova activated it multiple times, leading to Doris and Haskell getting a point. There are complaints about Akira's machine not working properly, with some calling it a scam. Despite protests, Akira maintains that the machines are perfect. Akira announces the next challenge, directing everyone to head to the auditorium and put on special clothes waiting at the entrance. The participants change into E-suits, which feel like a second skin. A discussion starts about how well the suits enhance body features, particularly focusing on physical attributes. A playful debate erupts between Nova and another participant about physical appearances. Nova defends herself, listing her top 3 confidence points: computer skills, marksmanship, and physical attributes. The conversation becomes somewhat competitive as they seek validation from others present. The challenge begins as participants take their seats. It's revealed to be taking place in Eternum, with players finding themselves 100 meters above ground on what appears to be a harbor island. The setting is described as isolated, surrounded by water in all directions. The participants discuss the server type, suggesting it might be private or battle royale style. Nova and another player share a moment discussing their combat outfits and previous gaming experiences in different servers, particularly mentioning one called Andromeda. Nova reveals her motivation for wanting to win. She needs a better CPU to improve her capabilities. A touching moment occurs as she expresses her fears about not being useful enough to the team, but receives reassurance about her value. Akira appears via drone to explain the challenge rules. Teams must eliminate each other within 30 minutes in a 2-square-mile harbor area. It's confirmed that player inventories and levels are safe as it's a training server. Teams spawn on opposite sides of the harbor. The teams begin strategizing. One team plans to use warehouses for cover while setting up sniper positions. However, the situation dramatically changes when Nova reveals she has a powerful weapon, Dion transformed into a rocket launcher. Nova executes an impressive play, eliminating the opposition with remarkable accuracy from a long distance. The victory is swift and decisive, tying the overall competition score at 2-2. The defeated team, notably impressed by Nova's skills, graciously acknowledges her superiority. Dolores, from the losing team, declares Nova deserving of the CPU prize and announces their intention to concede the final challenge, suggesting they return to the party instead. In the midst of what seems like a competition, there is excitement about potentially winning since other participants dropped out. However, this celebration is cut short when it is announced that one final challenge must still be completed to earn the CPU prize. Otherwise, it will be sold on eBay. Despite being the only remaining team in the competition, they are required to complete the final challenge. The group is led upstairs to a library room where the last test will take place. This challenge involves proving they can control their impulses. The challenge involves a device called TGF Cyberspunk X7 that detects neural implants. Participants must stay at least 6 feet apart for 25 minutes or an alarm will trigger. To add complexity, they must drink a special wine called Ember's Moan, supposedly a powerful aphrodisiac from England. After drinking the wine that tastes like strawberry soda, the participants begin their 25-minute challenge in the library. Initially, they feel confident about completing what seems like an easy task, just needing to overcome boredom while keeping their distance. The effects of the wine begin to take hold strongly. Both participants experience intense physical reactions and growing attraction, making it increasingly difficult to maintain their required distance. They reminisce about a past encounter in an Egyptian server, further intensifying the situation. As the challenge continues, they struggle with their growing desires, but manage to maintain control despite the intense effects of the wine. They attempt to distract themselves through conversation and other means while waiting for time to pass. The challenge ends successfully when Akura returns. A surprising revelation follows. The wine was allegedly just sugary fruit juice, suggesting a placebo effect. However, this claim is quickly reversed when Akura admits it was actually an illegal, powerful aphrodisiac. The combination of alcohol and the aphrodisiac causes one participant to feel ill and rush to the bathroom. The challenge concludes successfully, despite the complications, with plans to collect the CPU prize. The experience leaves everyone reflecting on the unique and intense nature of the competition. At a costume party, Orion and Regina have a conversation while waiting for Penelope, who went to change clothes after an incident. Regina makes some judgmental comments about Instagram girls and their superficiality. The mood is casual as they discuss free drinks at the open bar. Penelope returns wearing a regular dress with bracers from her previous costume. Despite her concerns about not having a proper costume anymore, others compliment her appearance. The conversation demonstrates the social dynamics between the party attendees, with some underlying tension. Charlotte joins the group and reveals she's studying at the university next year. The conversation shifts to Axel's absence. He's been ghosting everyone and hasn't been active on social media since the fancy dinner at Eternum. This news adds to other concerning events, like Changer's fraud and Benjamin's death. The group decides to drink Jägermeister, though there's subtle tension between some members regarding clothing choices. A teacher joins them, admitting to smoking and asking for discretion with the dean. The atmosphere remains festive despite underlying social tensions. Before heading to dance, they decide to play Truth or Dare with shots as penalties. The game begins with dares involving physical contact, specifically a neck-kissing dare between Orion and Penelope, which creates romantic tension and jealousy among some participants. During Truth or Dare, Penelope is asked about potential threesome partners and chooses Nova, a ginger-haired student, and Orion. This revelation sparks discussions about video games and shows a mix of reactions from the group. The game continues, revealing interesting dynamics between players. Professor Connor dares Orion to eat magic mushrooms from the Brazilian Amazon, claiming they cause brief hallucinations and religious-like experiences. Despite initial hesitation, Orion accepts the dare, trusting the professor's assurance about short-lasting effects. Orion begins experiencing stronger effects than expected from the mushrooms. He sees strange visions, including Penny in an Idriel costume, and hears mysterious voices mentioning Eternum. The experience becomes intense, suggesting deeper implications beyond simple hallucinations. Participants are engaged in what appears to be a coin flip game. After 99 flips of heads, someone chooses tails. The atmosphere is trippy and surreal, with mentions of colors and unusual sensations, suggesting the influence of psychedelics. The group acknowledges they won't be having any more magic mushrooms. The group transitions into playing Truth or Dare. Someone named Penelope shares an intimate story about an experience at a spa involving a jacuzzi. The story involves some risque content, but ultimately remains relatively tame. The group reacts with mixed responses of shock and amusement. The game continues with a shift toward dares only. A dare involves Charlotte agreeing to flash someone in private, with warnings about keeping it secret. The scene moves to a corner of a classroom where the dare is completed, followed by some awkward reactions and regretful comments. The party begins winding down. Discussion turns to a missing university yearbook tradition at Kredon, where students pass around and sign a book. There is tension around its disappearance, with Penelope being blamed for losing it, though she insists it was stolen. As people start leaving the party around 2:30 a.m., there's discussion about taking a scenic route home. This leads to revelations about suspicions regarding Regina stealing the yearbook and plans forming to investigate her dorm room to find evidence. The narrative splits between two potential scenarios, one involving helping search for the yearbook and another involving a tempting but inappropriate proposition. The focus remains on the mission to recover the missing yearbook. The search party arrives at Regina's dorm room, finding it empty. They begin investigating, noting the contrast between Regina's social media persona and her actual room decor. The search involves looking through drawers and bookcases for the yearbook. The search continues with increased urgency as time passes. They discover a locked drawer that might contain the yearbook, leading to discussion about how to access it. Options include trying to remove the entire drawer or finding another way to break in. Two people hastily try to hide when Regina unexpectedly returns during a party. They worry about potential consequences, especially since one could be expelled and the other barred from university admission. They consider jumping from a third-floor window before deciding to hide in a wardrobe. Regina discovers a mess and mentions needing to dispose of a yearbook in the river before anyone finds it. The hidden pair realize this confirms their suspicions about who took it. They remain cramped in an awkward position in the wardrobe while Regina uses her phone. After Regina finally leaves, the pair emerges from their hiding spot. Their close proximity in the wardrobe led to some tension between them. They discuss the awkward situation and decide they no longer care about the yearbook incident, instead wanting to spend time together. The conversation turns flirtatious as they discuss their growing attraction. They playfully argue about who is responsible for the tension between them, with references to previous encounters in various locations like the bathroom and locker room. The scene shifts as they later meet up with Nova, who had been feeling unwell at the party. They discuss winning a gaming console prize and share brief recaps of their evening, keeping certain details private. The time is revealed to be very late, around 4:45 a.m. The group decides to head home together. After walking Nova home, the remaining two arrive at their destination, exhausted from the long night. They discuss being tired and feeling too old for late parties, despite being only 17. The night concludes with a meaningful moment between them. What starts as a discussion about a good night kiss turns into something more intimate. They share a passionate kiss before saying goodnight. Just as sleep is about to take over, there is an unexpected wake-up call. Despite having just returned from the party, they need to head to an office for an important mission. Though exhausted, they agree to proceed with the plan. The scene moves to Nancy's office, where exhaustion starts to take its toll. Coffee becomes essential to stay awake. They sneak in through an emergency exit on a Sunday when the building is mostly empty, preparing for a mysterious mission whose details remain unknown. Inside an elevator in a large building complex, a discussion reveals the building's impressive underground structure. While only 4 floors exist above ground, 13 levels extend below, including 5 parking levels and specialized areas for warehouses and temperature-controlled labs. Due to a recent subcontract with Silas, the work has shifted entirely to paperwork rather than lab work. The company brought their own researchers and has restricted access to certain floors, maintaining tight security with NDAs. The office floors are typically empty on Sundays. An unexpected encounter occurs with Gertrude, a colleague working overtime on a Sunday. She mentions potential promotion prospects with Mr. Dunder and engages in conversation about workplace dynamics. The interaction reveals some workplace social dynamics and personalities. After reaching a private office, a secret plan is revealed involving malware capable of stealing eternal inventory. The software needs physical connection to an e-visor and must be retrieved afterward. The target wouldn't notice missing items until too late. A plot unfolds targeting Lawrence Ruiz, a Ulysses senior executive who visits weekly to collect data. The plan involves accessing his laptop, containing valuable information about gem discoveries and player identities. This could potentially reveal important user data and tracking information. A detailed strategy is laid out using office layouts and coordinated movements. The plan involves creating a diversion to access the executive's office, utilizing elevator positions and timing to maximize success. Multiple contingencies are discussed to ensure smooth execution. The conversation shifts to recent gaming achievements, specifically about faction dynamics in an online game. A significant political maneuver resulted in the Macedonia faction joining forces with the Western Roman Empire, WRE, demonstrating strategic gameplay developments. A dramatic confrontation unfolds between faction leaders, with the Eastern Roman Empire, ARE, refusing to submit to the WRE. The interaction showcases power dynamics and roleplay elements, highlighting tensions between different gaming factions. The situation intensifies with extreme roleplay scenarios involving virtual consequences. Despite claims about gaming ethics violations, the dominant faction maintains control through intimidation tactics, leading to eventual submission of opposing forces. The ERE joined the Roman Western Empire in a significant diplomatic move. Various pleasantries and welcomes were exchanged between members, with someone having to leave to prepare a family dinner. The group acknowledged this was the right decision for unity. A discussion about diplomacy and dialogue took place while waiting for an important representative from Ulysses to arrive. The conversation drifted to potential ways to pass the time during the wait. The mood became increasingly tense with underlying romantic tension. An interruption occurred when someone from Melissa's office arrived. To defuse the situation, one person offered to get donuts as a friendly gesture. They emphasized getting low-fat options to maintain their appearance. The The scene shifted as people left the room. A covert operation began with instructions to hide and wait for an opportunity. The mission involved sneaking into an office to search for vital information about someone's true identity, with hopes of using computer search functions to find it quickly. During the search, important files were discovered containing information about various gems and their owners. A significant discovery was made linking to past events at the Red Heron server. The files revealed methods for tracking players within Eternum. Information about an upcoming special event called the Big Hunt, scheduled for January, was found. The prize details were undetermined. The unauthorized search was interrupted by someone returning unexpectedly, leading to a tense confrontation. The situation escalated into a physical altercation, resolved with unexpected assistance. The intruder was subdued and restrained. Discussion followed about avoiding potential security issues and the need to leave the building quickly. Despite the complications, the mission was deemed successful with the discovery of crucial identity information. The target was revealed to be living in Evergreen, Washington, approximately a 5-hour drive away. Plans began forming for a follow-up mission. The scene shifted to a more personal conversation about complicated relationships, age differences, and timing. Various interruptions had prevented relationship progression, leading to reflection about fate and destiny. The discussion culminated in a dramatic elevator stop. In an elevator with emergency lights flashing, there is discussion about seizing opportunities and taking control of destiny, rather than waiting for things to happen. Two individuals share a moment discussing what they want from each other. An awkward encounter occurs when additional people arrive unexpectedly. There is conversation about a supposed office fumigation, which serves as an excuse for people to leave. Someone forgets their shoes in the office, and discussions about getting spare pairs from cars take place. The scene shifts to a new location called Thanatos. Someone wakes up after a 6-hour nap and recalls an interesting dream. They discuss feeling energized and ready for action, preparing to plant a device and retrieve some gems. They arrive at an abandoned house. The GPS signal was lost on the way, and the area appears deserted with no other buildings within 10 miles. The house seems neglected and in decay. They decide to investigate despite some hesitation. Upon entering the abandoned house, they find it filled with old belongings, suggesting the previous residents left in a hurry. They explore the upstairs area, but find only empty bedrooms and bathrooms, ultimately feeling disappointed with their findings. They decide to contact Nova for help. Nova answers quickly and mentions being slightly hungover but feeling better. They discuss her recent activities, including dyeing her hair blue and her mother scolding her about an eye condition. They share information about someone named Wyatt R. Pittman with Nova. After investigating, Nova discovers this person died 5 years ago, suggesting Thanatos is using fake identities of deceased people. This revelation supports their theory about connections to Ulysses. Despite the setback, they maintain optimism and decide to return to Kredon. A discussion follows about staying positive in difficult situations. There is reflection on how this optimistic attitude affects others positively and makes their smiles genuine. The conversation turns personal as they discuss how past hardships led to putting on brave faces and hiding pain, especially around family members. There is recognition that certain relationships allow for more genuine emotional expression and authentic happiness. A heartfelt conversation occurs about someone making a household feel more complete. Despite their modesty in simply pointing out existing qualities, they are praised for helping others overcome insecurities. The discussion touches on how even seemingly confident people struggle with internal battles. Pretty girls feeling ugly, funny people crying at night, and popular people feeling lonely. The scene dramatically shifts when an elderly woman, Miss Pittman, confronts people with a shotgun in her house. They try to defuse the situation by explaining they were looking for her son Wyatt due to a misunderstanding. The tense situation reveals that Wyatt passed away 5 years ago, leaving his mother alone. The confrontation evolves into an understanding between two mothers. One offers comfort and her phone number to Miss Pittman, showing empathy for her situation as a single mother. The interaction showcases how initial hostility can transform into connection through shared experiences. Discussion turns to Wyatt, Miss Pittman's deceased son. He was described as very tall, nearly 6'9", and died from a sudden stroke due to a congenital disease. He was passionate about a game called Eternum, which ultimately became his final activity before passing. The scene shifts to an intense wartime speech addressing soldiers who have witnessed tremendous loss and suffering. The speaker acknowledges shared fears and the harsh realities of war, while emphasizing the importance of continuing to fight for fallen comrades and future generations. The speaker reveals their identity as a self-proclaimed hero and chosen one, destined to lead others to victory in Eternum. They embrace their role as a unifying figure and prophesied leader, rallying troops for an upcoming battle. The scene transitions to what appears to be a gaming scenario where players discuss strategy and casualties. A character named Jerry steps on a landmine, revealing this is actually taking place within the game Eternum. Players critique the unrealistic aspects of the game, including trench designs and inappropriate combat attire. The conversation continues among players discussing the game's mixing of different historical military equipment and fantasy elements like lightsabers. They joke about their impractical but stylish outfits, revealing this is all part of a roleplay server where historical accuracy takes a back seat to entertainment and personal expression. A lighthearted conversation about outfits takes place. There is playful teasing about a revealing outfit choice, though the wearer claims it was the only option available in their inventory. The clothing is described as both stylish and practical, with special appreciation for having actual pockets, a rare feature in women's clothing. A military-style interaction occurs with formal call-and-response exchanges. The interaction has an endearing quality, with comments about the adorable nature of one participant. Instructions are given about pairing up and watching each other's backs, with emphasis on restoration abilities and protection. Strategic battle plans are laid out. The armored division has eliminated enemy tanks. Teams are assigned to flank enemy positions from multiple directions: east, north, west, and south. There is emphasis on maintaining stealth and using the element of surprise. Communications protocols are established. A tense moment develops when someone feels their capabilities are being underestimated. They become upset at being perceived as useless and request assignment to the front line to prove their worth. After some hesitation, permission is granted to join the combat team. A potential opportunity to target an enemy leader is identified. However, strange events begin occurring. People disappear mysteriously and unexplained presences are felt. The atmosphere becomes increasingly tense and unsettling. An encounter occurs involving someone found without clothing who claims to have escaped captivity. There is suspicion about their true identity, leading to an interrogation about faction knowledge. The situation ends in conflict. Discussion of tactical abilities and limitations takes place, including transformation powers that require recovery time. Updates on successful operations against enemy flanks are shared, with confirmation of cleared zones. A major tactical strike is coordinated and executed, resulting in a massive explosion visible across the server. However, Someone feels their contribution has gone unrecognized, leading to feelings of frustration and a desire to prove themselves. Two guards are stationed at the south flank, complaining about their boring post. While one appreciates the easy work, the other wishes for a more exciting position. Their conversation is interrupted when they spot a mysterious girl who refuses to speak or identify herself. One guard makes inappropriate advances toward the girl, offering to take her to his tent. His companion calls out this concerning behavior. When the girl continues acting strangely, the superior officer orders his subordinate to shoot her, despite his reluctance. After shots are fired, several mysterious feminine figures appear, criticizing the guard's behavior as uncivilized. They demonstrate supernatural abilities, easily overpowering the guards despite their firearms. One guard has his arm broken in the confrontation. The mysterious group interrogates the guards about access to the main bunker. One guard quickly betrays his post, revealing a back entrance through the sewers and providing the access code 77463. His companion criticizes this disloyalty. Inside the bunker, reports indicate that all flanks except the south have fallen. The commander orders remaining units to fortify defenses, claiming no one has ever taken the Wagner bunker. However, he secretly plans to escape alone through a hidden route. A mysterious individual named Orion confronts the commander in the bunker. When the commander attempts to deceive Orion with a false surrender, he reveals his true intentions and a valuable gem in his possession. An intense confrontation ensues between Orion and the commander. Despite the bunker's magic-blocking capabilities, Orion demonstrates supernatural speed. He reveals extensive intelligence about the commander's operations before stealing the gem. A legendary figure named Thanatos appears, seeking the gem. Known to be level 100 with a fearsome reputation, he confronts the commander about the stolen gem. The commander attempts to recruit Thanatos to help recover it. The situation escalates as forces surround Thanatos, attempting to claim 5 gems of doom in his possession. Despite being outnumbered 50-1, Thanatos remains unfazed, declaring his opponents merely dead men walking. A conversation takes place about securing gems, with 2 already collected. There is discussion about using nerve servers and exit portals. The tone shifts when someone expresses frustration about being treated like a personal aide rather than being recognized as their true role as Princess of Hyralar. The princess vents about being used merely as an escape route rather than an equal partner. They want to be more involved in missions and gain information about different realms to find their way home. The discussion reveals tension about feeling used and undervalued despite their royal status. It comes to light that someone has been monitoring another's movements between realms, sensing their presence in various environments like deserts and jungles. This leads to an awkward revelation about secret surveillance motivated by curiosity and boredom. Important plot details emerge about people who died in the real world, continuing to exist inside Eternum. A theory suggests Ulysses found a way to digitize human consciousness. The mission involves collecting 10 gems of doom to uncover this mystery. The scene shifts to a group anxiously awaiting news about a mission. Excitement erupts when it's confirmed that a second gem was successfully obtained. The group discusses future fame, wealth, and opportunities that could come from solving the Ulysses mystery. Discussion turns to upcoming events in Eternum, including the Big Hunt and new locations like Mayo, which has a feudal Japan theme. There is friendly debate about player skills and whether magic or physical combat is superior in gaming. Details about Operation Wagner emerge. The gem was successfully stolen using powers and portal escape. Wagner and his men are now barricaded in a bunker under siege, with no exit portals available to them. Personal life details surface about a recent trip overseas involving distant father relationships but supportive family friends. Most time was spent practicing gaming techniques rather than family bonding. The evening winds down with discussions about rest and ongoing activities. Mention is made of Nova attending a mysterious meeting with a philanthropist regarding their alter ego Delilah Warren, adding intrigue to the situation. A group of friends are wrapping up their evening after playing Eternum. They discuss how one person has managed to stay awake for an unusually long time. The conversation reveals plans for the weekend involving searching for special gems across different game servers. There are currently 3 known gems, one held by Thanos, one by another player, and 2 potential leads to investigate. The first lead points to the Andromeda server, while the second is in Black Ridge, a Wild West-themed roleplay server called Frontier Trails. Plans are made to visit Alex's new apartment the next day. The group discusses how Alex has recently moved out of her parents' home. They arrange to bring Eternum equipment to play from her place. The conversation has a playful tone as siblings tease each other about gaming together. The evening winds down with flirtatious banter between some participants. Someone plans to use the downstairs bathroom, leading to some suggestive jokes between a few members of the group before they say their goodnights. After everyone leaves, there's reflection on increased endurance since moving to the US, attributing it to the fresh air. Despite feeling stronger, sleep is necessary since there are plans to visit Alex's new apartment in the morning. The scene shifts to a mysterious dream sequence where the dreamer finds themselves in an unusual place. They encounter a figure who appears to be Idril, leading to a philosophical discussion about death, fear, and human nature. The dream becomes more cryptic with warnings about moving forward and breaking chains. Upon waking, they realize they fell asleep while using the Eternum equipment and somehow logged into the game while sleeping. An awkward situation unfolds as they find themselves naked in the game world due to missing the default outfit selection. They encounter others and quickly remedy the situation by finding appropriate clothing. The group receives an invitation to visit the house of Gideon Cook, a famous Eternum collector known for having artifacts from over 100 different servers. His collection is worth millions of Eternals, leading to careful reconnaissance before entering. Inside the house, they meet Clunk, a robot artifact from Cook's collection. Clunk explains the house contains the best pieces of the collection and warns about touching items. The situation becomes intriguing as they await explanation for why they've been gathered. A mysterious host announces they are standing in for Mr. Gideon Cook, who was recently murdered by poisoning with hemlock. The guests have been gathered to participate in a unique inheritance game involving Gideon's artifacts. However, there's a major twist. One person among them is the actual murderer. Before his death, Gideon Cook identified his killer, but instead of revealing them, he created one final puzzle game. The rules are simple. Every 10 minutes, participants must vote for who they suspect is the murderer. The person with the most votes gets eliminated each round. If the murderer is successfully identified, the remaining players can choose artifacts. If the murderer survives until only 2 remain, they win and claim an artifact. The group begins introductions. Harley Jones, a skilled hit woman, boasts about never sleeping and only being vulnerable when caught off guard. Anna Paget introduces herself as a renowned psychologist who can diagnose mental illness quickly. Gemini, known as the Blind Oracle, claims to have future-seeing abilities despite losing sight and mobility as a child. Sister Bayek presents herself as the leader of the Church of Unitology, claiming to communicate with the deceased. The conversation shifts when Orion and others reveal they weren't directly invited, but came with Delilah Warren, causing some controversy about rule-breaking. The host clarifies that uninvited guests cannot vote. Delilah Warren introduces herself as the owner of Dion, one of Atlas' 3 weapons, bragging about perfect marksmanship. The mood shifts dramatically when Elliot Cook reveals has a taxi driver and, more importantly, Gideon's estranged son. This revelation immediately makes him the prime suspect in the group's eyes. Elliot strongly denies killing his father, explaining their estrangement was due to Gideon's obsession with Eternum and artifacts. After facing accusations, he angrily leaves to smoke. While some consider the case solved, others find it suspiciously easy and suggest investigating further before voting. The group begins exploring the manor for clues. During this time, Harley Jones expresses complete certainty about Elliot's guilt, suggesting inheritance as the motive. The conversation then shifts to more casual topics, including personal relationships and physical attributes of the group members. A scene unfolds in what appears to be an immersive mystery game, where participants are trying to solve a murder. The setting is in a fancy house with various artifacts and locked rooms. The players are discussing fashion and reminiscing about past experiences while exploring the space. The group encounters a locked door that requires a key. Despite their attempts, they cannot gain access. They decide to explore other areas and return to the main hall to speak with Clonk, who appears to be some kind of robot assistant. The group interacts with Clonk, who formerly worked for the Collector as an inventory keeper. Miss Warren delegates her voting rights to Orion, also known as Mr. Richards. Clonk explains his limitations as a robot, mentioning he couldn't perform butler duties due to limited arm mobility. The first round of voting begins. The group decides to vote for Anna. After all votes are counted, the results show Elliot received 4 votes, while Anna received 2. This concludes the first round. A shocking twist occurs when Elliot, who was eliminated, gets hit by a laser beam from the ceiling. Clonk reveals the house is equipped with deadly lasers that eliminate players who lose. Furthermore, Elliot wasn't actually the murderer, meaning the real killer remains among the group. The intensity increases as players realize they can't leave or they'll be eliminated by lasers. Round 2 begins with a 10-minute voting window. The group decides to stay calm and approach the situation analytically to identify the real murderer. The group discovers a reception area with drawers containing various keys. They find a promising key labeled number 6 that might help them access previously locked areas. This discovery gives them hope for finding new clues. Using the key, they access a new room where they find a briefcase with a 4-digit combination lock. A riddle suggests the combination is related to multiplying the ages of the youngest and oldest participants in the group. A bizarre supernatural event occurs when Nova touches an artifact, causing her to split into 2 identical versions of herself. Both Novas share the same consciousness, but exist in separate bodies, creating an unusual situation. Another supernatural incident occurs when Annie encounters an invisible box and becomes invisible herself after touching it. The box gets lost when she accidentally throws it out the window, leaving her stuck in an invisible state. A conversation with Gemini reveals he is a 71-year-old man who, despite his advanced age, maintains sharp mental faculties even though his body has grown weaker. The interaction shows respect for his quick-witted nature, especially in comparison to other elderly people. Harley is found in a distressed state on the floor, expressing extreme paranoia and distrust of everyone, especially Gemini. She reveals she is 25 years old when questioned about her age, appearing relieved when told the murderer must be over 30 years old. The second round of voting concludes with Gemini receiving 3 votes, leading to his elimination. However, it is revealed that Gemini was not actually the murderer, meaning the real killer remains among the group. This news causes increased anxiety among the participants. An encounter with Nova takes place, showing her playful and flirtatious side. She discusses her outfit choices and recent exercise routine, creating a momentary distraction from the intense murder mystery situation. A riddle involving the oldest and youngest participants' ages is solved, revealing Gemini at 71 and Nova at 21. This leads to the discovery of another cryptic note suggesting that each participant is hiding something significant. Annie, who is investigating while invisible, discovers evidence of polyjuice potion use and provides a bottle to be used near Anna, the psychologist. She encourages continued investigation of everyone's hidden secrets. A confrontation with Harley reveals her big secret. She is actually a fraud who has never killed anyone, despite her reputation as a hit woman. She admits to being terrified of blood and that her tough image is just for show. The conversation with Sister uncovers a mysterious connection to something called Sapphire. Sister becomes notably anxious when questioned about it, eventually revealing it involves money and claiming everything is legal while begging for secrecy. A tense negotiation unfolds as someone offers to pay 100 Eternals, which gets increased to 120 Eternals. The money is offered in exchange for silence, particularly about someone named Sapphire. The person claims the rest of their money is frozen in Garrington Bank and makes desperate promises to keep quiet. The scene shifts to a voting process where participants are deciding between multiple candidates. Anna receives votes and the group proceeds with the voting round. After the voting, someone experiences dizziness and mentions returning to normal after being split into multiple bodies. The voting results are revealed. Jones and Sister each receive 1 vote, while Anna gets 2 votes, resulting in her elimination. Anna protests her elimination, claiming she is cleverer and more beautiful than the others. However, it is then revealed that Anna was not actually the murderer, meaning the real killer remains hidden. Another round of voting takes place, resulting in Sister Bayok being eliminated. She reacts dramatically, threatening to leave the server. However, it's revealed that she too was not the actual murderer, creating more confusion among the remaining participants. A major revelation occurs as someone wearing a hat returns and explains that none of the suspects is the actual murderer. They expose how each participant has been lying. Delilah uses a fake identity, Artley is a coward, Anna uses appearance-changing potions, Sister Beck runs a fake sect, and Gemini isn't really blind. The true twist is revealed. The Collector himself orchestrated everything, using artifacts to become invisible and create a duplicate body. He faked his own death in the first round to watch the chaos unfold. The mystery solver exposes him using a spell of dissipation. The Collector offers the survivors 50 Eternals each as a prize, but faces pushback as the original rules promised an artifact. After being threatened with potential legal action under Eternum's general code, he allows winners to choose between the money and an artifact. The winners select the Doppelmorpher artifact, which can create 2 copies of a person while maintaining 1 consciousness. Despite some limitations, like only being usable every 25 days, they see its potential value in important situations or fights. As the game concludes, Hartley shares plans to quit and open a shop in Sin City server. The Collector rushes everyone to leave, warning that fence lasers will eliminate anyone remaining in the house after 45 seconds. The participants express relief at surviving and praise Annie's deduction skills that solve the case. They wrap up their adventure with plans for milk and cookies, feeling accomplished despite the scary experience. The session ends as Annie uses an exit portal to return to the real world. A conversation begins about someone's eye injury, which they brush off as minor and temporary. They exchange thanks for help provided during what seems to have been a challenging situation or game. Someone apologizes for earlier behavior when they were duplicated, explaining they felt unusual and said things they didn't mean. The other person accepts the apology easily. An invitation is extended to watch the final episode of One Piece together next Thursday. The invitation includes the promise of food and drinks. The invitee happily accepts, mentioning it's a chance for redemption after a previous awkward visit. The person extending the invitation seems nervous and flustered when asked about preparations needed for next week. A gaming session wraps up with reflections on completing a game called Eternum All-Women Run. The player notes seeing fewer characters but enjoying special scenes with Nova, where two people share a room filled with plush toys. They discuss the collection, comparing it to a larger one in London. When promised cookies aren't available, they settle for Oreos instead. They notice others sleeping peacefully on the couch. A conversation about recent travels reveals tense family dynamics, particularly with a father who can't remember important names. The discussion highlights how true family can be found among friends in Kredon rather than biological relations. A lighthearted moment occurs when they discover their cat Carolyn has drunk their milk meant for cookies. Despite initial frustration, they can't stay mad at the cute cat. They debate using the cat's milk supply, but decide against having cookies without milk. The evening takes an intimate turn as they discuss previous encounters and express desire for more practice with kissing. Initially hesitant, communication becomes more direct as they share their feelings. The scene ends with a tender moment as they share a kiss and move to the bed. Late at night, feeling wound up and unable to stop thinking about future events. It's been a long day and sleep seems difficult after everything that happened. The weather has been consistently rainy as Christmas approaches. The group made plans to skip Christmas gifts this year in favor of a ski trip weekend. There are thoughts about Ellie's upcoming birthday on January 1st, which seems like an unfortunate date since everyone is usually recovering from New Year's celebrations. Considering surprising her early with a special protein powder gift she's been wanting but couldn't afford. Plans get disrupted when Alex calls in sick with a cold. Despite being told not to come over, there's consideration about visiting anyway with medicine and blankets, even at the risk of getting turned away. A hiking trip with Michaela gets canceled due to an incoming major storm. A friend generously lends $25 for a movie date instead. The conversation shifts to some custom t-shirts that were made and distributed to friends. There is discussion about recent physical changes, including muscle gain, darker nails, eye bags, and faster hair growth. Running into Penny and Luna at the mall, complimenting Luna's new hairstyle from Paul's. They quickly leave after spotting Regina in a store. There is observation about how well certain friends are getting along, noting they've been playing warthogs together and wearing matching shirts. An intense confrontation with Axel reveals deeper mysteries about Benjamin's death and Eternum. Axel appears unwell and hasn't been attending school. The conversation unveils that Benjamin was excommunicated and something sinister involving Praetorians who can permanently trap consciousness in the game. A shocking revelation emerges that Eternum isn't actually a digital game. It would require impossible amounts of processing power to run. Instead, it's suggested that Ulysses found a way to access some kind of parallel dimension through neural implants. The founder's father is revealed to be pursuing the Gems of Doom for control of the company. A conversation takes place about various mysteries surrounding Eternum, including questions about the Praetorians, NPCs, and someone named Calypso. The discussion reveals uncertainty about whether certain characters are truly human and who might be controlling them behind the scenes. One character mentions they will continue investigating their father, who they suspect knows more than they admit. There's a brief exchange about Alexandra, who recently left home. Her current status is reported as having a cold, but otherwise doing fine. When offered to pass along a message to her, the response is declined. The scene transitions as one character walks away around a corner. Frustration is expressed about how answering one question about Eternum leads to multiple new questions. The scene shifts to a journey to Alex's house at 41 Oak Street, apartment 25, described as being in a nice area though far from the center of town. A heated argument is overheard in the building between neighbors, involving personal accusations and threats. The scene creates an uncomfortable and somewhat dangerous atmosphere, causing uncertainty about whether this is the right location. Upon arriving at Alex's door, there is initial resistance to letting anyone in. After some persistence and mentions of brought supplies including medicine, blankets, and ice cream, Alex eventually agrees to allow entry despite being sick and concerned about their appearance. The apartment interior is revealed to be nice despite the building's rough exterior. Alex is described as being visibly sick with a cold, wearing oversized clothing. The visitor finds their vulnerable state endearing, though Alex seems self-conscious about their appearance. A tour of the apartment reveals a humble but well-put-together space. The furniture is a mix of Craigslist and flea market finds, with some items left by previous tenants. The bedroom is notably sparse, containing minimal furnishings. A bag of supplies is unpacked, containing various medications, tissues, a blanket, ice cream, and a quirky plush toy named Dr. Egg Dogstein. While the medications are appreciated, the plush toy receives a less enthusiastic response. Preparations begin for logging into what appears to be a virtual world or game. They discuss meeting someone named Dahlia at a saloon, with specific instructions about server access and timing their login sequence. The scene transitions to a Wild West-themed virtual environment. The setting includes classic Western elements, but with unexpected fantasy elements like elves. A character named Calypso appears, leading to discussion about collaboration on an upcoming mission and some confusion about a horse purchase. The scene opens with a tense discussion about staying vigilant against potential enemies. Though initially aggressive, there is recognition of impressive magical abilities and confidence in being able to handle any threats. However, there are concerns about standing out too much in this world compared to fantasy realms. A transformation of outfits occurs to better blend in with the local population. Special attention is paid to copying the style of a nearby girl, including getting a hat to conceal distinctive features. The differences between realms are discussed, particularly noting the harsh desert sun compared to typically rainy conditions elsewhere. The group heads to the Blackbridge Saloon, which is explained to be similar to an alehouse, but with its own unique charm featuring music, poker, and cowboys. The concept of cowboys is explained as horse riders who evolved from cattle workers into bounty hunters due to increased crime. Inside the saloon, the group meets up and compliments are exchanged about appearances. A discussion follows about helping find special gems and potentially finding a way back to another realm. Concerns about standing out are addressed through disguise elements. Information about different Western servers is shared, including details about tumbleweed and frontier trails. A mysterious case of cannibalism and zombie rumors led to the abandonment of one server. The group then orders drinks and food from a characteristic Western-style bartender. An unexpected interaction occurs when a girl named Eva recognizes someone from the group. Initially, there is confusion, but then memories of a past encounter at a bakery surface. The story involves a free cupcake and subsequent job loss, creating an awkward moment. After Eva leaves, the group refocuses on their mission. They discuss tracking down El Coyote, a leader of bandits who might possess a valuable gem. The team decides to split up to gather information, with different members assigned to check the mines, talk to the sheriff, deputy, and bartender. A group plans to reunite in a few hours at a local establishment. One member asks to have the bartender save a steak for later, offering to pay double. The atmosphere is casual as they prepare for an upcoming mission involving gems. The scene is interrupted when Praetorians enter the establishment searching for an illegal stone artifact. They describe it as palm-sized and cube-shaped. After a confrontation where the bartender is killed for resisting, they announce that an operative will be stationed in the town center, and cooperation is mandatory. The narrative shifts to a sun-scorched western setting. A conversation occurs near what appears to be a hot train. The focus moves to an interaction with Dahlia, who expresses frustration about dealing with an incompetent local sheriff. An encounter with the clearly intoxicated sheriff reveals information about El Coyote. The sheriff demands 150 turtles, currency, for information about the criminal's location. This leads to a game of rock, paper, scissors to determine who will pay the bribe. After receiving payment, the sheriff reveals that El Coyote associates with a man named Boone, who frequents a cabin near a pond. The location is described as being a 2-hour horseback ride through Red Ridge. Plans are made to investigate this lead together. The scene transitions to finding Calypso sitting behind the saloon. A discussion ensues about weapons technology, with Calypso showing interest in human inventions while comparing them to those in their realm. The conversation reveals cultural differences between humans and elves, ending with playful banter about dreams. A fascinating conversation begins about a dream or hallucination known as a bleeding case involving an inn in Ekebar. The scene described involves an innkeeper demanding payment and being threatened with lightning magic. This leads to discussion about similar real events that occurred several moons ago. The conversation is interrupted by gunshots coming from a store where a deputy is located. Upon investigation, they find a tense situation between the deputy and a store owner named Brendan, who is refusing to pay property taxes while falsely claiming indigenous ancestry. The conflict escalates until a compromise is reached with a 20% tax reduction. The deputy introduces himself and offers help in finding El Coyote, a wanted outlaw. During this interaction, there is confusion about the existence of dragons and fantasy elements in Eternum, leading to an accidental shooting incident where the deputy is hit. This creates a messy situation that needs to be handled discreetly. To clean up after the accident, the group heads to a hotel above a saloon, offering bath services. Though initially unimpressed with the facilities, the princess agrees to use them while requesting protection during the bathing ritual, which is described as a sacred activity for her people. Strict rules about facing the wall are established. During the bath, discussion turns to multiple plot elements, including the Gems of Doom event, Praetorians interrogating players, and various factions involved in an ongoing conflict. The existence of 10 gems that need to be gathered is mentioned as a crucial objective. The conversation shifts to discussing Queen Anima, the Radiant, an important historical figure described as the first queen of Cytatelk, herald of the Elven court, and guardian of the forest. This reveals interesting aspects of the Elven culture and its magical origins. The scene concludes with the beginning of an immersive storytelling session about ancient times, with instructions to imagine a land of untamed wilderness dotted with rising kingdoms. The narrative sets up for a historical tale about a powerful and beautiful kingdom that became legendary throughout the land. In a vast kingdom filled with forests, rivers, and cities, there stood a magnificent castle ruled by a beloved king who had 5 sons. The youngest son was named Liar, born during a full moon, which may have explained his reckless and impulsive nature compared to his more graceful brothers. Despite his differences, the king favored Liar above the others. Against his father's orders, Liar ventured into an enchanted forest where he discovered a clearing with a pond. There he found a beautiful elven witch with rare powers to connect alternate worlds. Seeing an opportunity for gaining riches, he promised her happiness in exchange for sharing her magical abilities. After receiving the witch's powers, Liar revealed his true nature. He imprisoned her like a pet and returned to the castle where he murdered his father and brothers. Taking the crown, he became the new king, ruling through fear, while the helpless people had no choice but to submit to his tyranny. A mysterious challenger arrived at the castle demanding to duel Liar. Despite a prophecy stating only those with royal blood could harm him, Liar accepted, confident in his supremacy. To everyone's shock, the challenger absorbed and redirected Liar's magic, defeating him in combat. The victorious challenger became the new king and married the freed witch, now known as Queen Anima the Radiant. Together, they established a noble dynasty focused on justice and compassion that continues to present day. Queen Anima went on to rule for millennia, building the Elven Grand Library and expanding territory. The tale shifts to a present-day conversation where someone expresses gratitude for having help from a descendant of Queen Anima. This descendant inherited Anima's rare portal creation abilities, but insists their powers are weaker than the Queen's. They commit to helping others out of personal honor until a debt is repaid. The conversation takes a flirtatious turn as someone playfully requests to see the royal descendant. Though amused, the descendant maintains strict boundaries about human contact, explaining that no human has ever been permitted such intimacy, as they are seen as lustful barbarians. The scene transitions to a bustling town setting with merchants hawking various wares. A brief interaction occurs between characters discussing someone named Alex and getting payback, followed by questions about investigating a coyote and visiting a hotel with someone named Calypso. A conversation begins about avoiding inappropriate relations with weapons and an incident involving a deputy who got covered in blood from a quirk accident. The deputy needed to go back to the hotel to clean up. Meanwhile, there were Praetorians in town searching for a mysterious cube-like object. A promising lead emerged about El Coyote hiding in the server. According to sources, El Coyote has distinctive, piercing blue eyes and wears a red bandana over his face. While discussing this information, attention turns to a suspicious person spotted near the mines ramp. The suspicious person is followed to a deserted area behind the mine. While attempting to spy on him, an ill-timed sneeze alerts him to their presence. To avoid suspicion, a quick-thinking plan involves pretending to be a romantic couple. The man turns out to be just an opium dealer, not El Coyote. A concerning sight catches attention, a man entering a building with a small boy. It's explained that NPCs exist in Blackridge to make the world feel more populated, though they carry no valuable items and can't harm players. Most players typically ignore these NPCs. Inside the building, a disturbing scene unfolds involving a man manipulating an NPC child through a small blue device. The device appears similar to technology previously seen, possibly connected to someone named Ulysses. It allows control over NPCs through ID numbers. The man reveals he purchased the device on the black market for 85,000 credits. He attempts to justify his actions by claiming NPCs aren't real, offering 500 internals as a bribe to escape consequences. The situation ends with the perpetrator being eliminated. After the disturbing encounter, there's discussion about needing a break at the saloon. They decide to leave the body and device for the Praetorians to find, hoping they'll confiscate it and leave the server. The conversation ends with attempts to lift spirits by recalling pleasant memories. Two friends discuss riding bikes and feeling the wind, sharing a casual moment of gratitude. One mentions discovering something important later. The conversation has a light, supportive tone as they wrap up their chat. The scene shifts to a discussion about a horse named Roach. Only one horse is available at the stables. Despite initial plans to split up, they decide to ride together, though one person claims horse riding experience from a medieval fair when they were younger. They mount the horse together, with some hesitation from one rider who claims to respect rather than fear horses. The more experienced rider helps pull the other up, making playful references to fantasy stories as they head toward a canyon. The conversation turns to the massive size of their server, with discussions about multiple towns connected by trains and player populations. They estimate hundreds of players in Blackridge alone and thousands across frontier trails. They also touch on experiences with NPCs. The discussion delves deeper into philosophical thoughts about NPCs, wondering if they continue existing when no players are around. They contemplate whether NPCs might be real people from parallel dimensions, though they dismiss this as unlikely despite the strange circumstances they find themselves in. They spot a cabin, but are suddenly threatened by an approaching sandstorm. Forced to seek shelter quickly, they secure their horse in a shed and break into the seemingly empty cabin. They find evidence of recent occupation with hot logs in the fireplace. Trapped by the sandstorm for a few hours, they discover some beverages and decide to pass the time drinking. The atmosphere becomes more relaxed as they settle in for the wait. They begin playing a game of Marry, Kiss, Kill with various characters, including superheroes and people they know. The game becomes increasingly personal as they discuss hypothetical scenarios with friends and acquaintances. The evening takes a flirtatious turn as they switch to playing darts with added stakes. They decide to make it a competitive strip game, with the loser of each round removing an item of clothing. The atmosphere becomes playful, yet charged with tension. A casual game of darts is being played between two people. They playfully argue about using different colored darts, with one person insisting their dart works better. Some flirty banter ensues about what the winner gets to do, keeping things lighthearted. The scene shifts to a beautiful view after a sandstorm. Two people are tending to a horse named Roach at a pond, letting her drink and calm down. They discuss plans to reach Blackridge before dark and navigate using landmarks rather than the sun. One character accidentally steps into a trap. While trying to help, they encounter a friendly giant named Boone, who set up traps to catch mythical creatures. He enthusiastically shares stories about chupacabras, Bigfoot, and other legendary beings in the area. The conversation turns serious as they ask Boone about El Cote, his former gang leader. Boone offers to help by providing maps showing potential hideout locations, explaining he left the gang due to their cruel intentions toward creatures like Bigfoot. The group splits up, one heading back to Blackridge to update their friends, while the other goes with Boone to learn about El Cote's hideouts. Boone makes some awkward assumptions about their relationship, leading to embarrassed denials. A touching moment occurs between two characters as they part ways, with one thanking the other for respecting boundaries during their earlier encounter. They share some flirtatious goodbye banter before separating. Hours later at Blackridge, the group reconvenes. While some had no luck exploring a cemetery, they learn about the successful meeting with Boone and his knowledge of El Cote's hideouts. They confirm everyone is safely logged out or reached their destinations. The day wraps up as characters say their goodbyes. One reflects on how the day turned out better than expected, having lost track of time due to all the fun and adventures. The interactions hint at developing relationships and successful progress in their quest. During a gaming session, there was discussion about being disconnected from real-world events. Alex suddenly disappeared into an alley, causing concern. Upon searching, she was nowhere to be found, except for some distant players. This raised questions about potential exit portals in the virtual town. A confrontation occurred with a mysterious leader who had captured Alex. The leader and his associate Billy made threatening remarks about Alex while revealing they possessed a valuable gem of doom. They questioned the protagonist's motives for tracking them down, suggesting there was more to the story than appeared. The leader challenged the protagonist to a duel, claiming to have the fastest draw in Eternum. He offered potential group membership if the protagonist could find him after a 24-hour penalty period. The duel commenced with Billy counting down, creating intense suspense. After an intense showdown, the protagonist revealed himself as Orion and defeated the leader. Upon questioning Billy, it was discovered their group had bases in both the New World and Ion, with approximately 50 members. The New World base was located on a moving ship. Following the confrontation, there was playful banter about choosing the name Orion and the impressive rescue. Alex reluctantly expressed gratitude for being saved, though maintaining she had the situation under control. The exchange highlighted their growing connection. After leaving the virtual world, both players experienced physical exhaustion despite only sitting on a couch. They discussed how immersive the game felt, with aching muscles and fatigue from their virtual activities. A previous cold seemed to have improved during gameplay. Due to ongoing heavy storms, they decided to extend their time together. The conversation turned personal as they expressed appreciation for playing together and enjoying each other's company. Despite initial resistance, Alex agreed to let the protagonist stay over due to the weather. They decided to order pizza and wings for dinner, splitting the bill. After freshening up, they settled in to watch Olympic swimming qualifiers while reflecting on how unexpected their friendship had become. The evening ended with them sharing a casual and comfortable moment together. The unlikely situation began with a frosty first encounter, made more complicated by discovering she was Axel's sister and daughter of a major shareholder. Despite having access to luxury, she chose to live independently in a modest apartment, eating pizza and living life on her own terms. The conversation shifted to swimming qualifiers and Olympic aspirations. Despite coaching encouragement, there was uncertainty about pursuing Olympic dreams, though support was offered as a #1 fan. The discussion turned to group activities, with updates about El Coyote's hiding spots and a lead from someone named Boone involving maps found in a remote cabin. Plans were made to explore the New World server to find El Coyote's base before the Antos could get there. The conversation covered the Praetorians' departure from Blackridge and speculation about acquiring artifacts. The potential value of recruiting a Praetorian was discussed, though the high cost, around 100K, made it seem unrealistic. An earlier encounter with Axel, who appeared rough and paranoid, was mentioned. He had been investigating their father and inquired about his sister's well-being. Alex revealed minimal contact with her family, expressing contentment with her independent life away from them. Late-night conversation continued as rain fell outside. The apartment was warm due to insulation, leading to playful banter about sleeping arrangements and dealing with the heat. A search for ventilation through the kitchen window proved unsuccessful. The evening took an intimate turn, leading to passionate encounters followed by refreshing showers. Both parties seemed satisfied with the unexpected development in their relationship, though there was playful debate about who initiated what. A knock at the door turned out to be a late-night pizza delivery, ordered to replenish energy after their activities. The moment of contentment was interrupted when instead of the pizza delivery, armed men appeared in the apartment. The situation took a dark turn with the arrival of William, whose presence created an atmosphere of fear and tension. His appearance suggested serious consequences, with implications of family honor being tarnished. The ability to speak was somehow suppressed in his presence. A tense situation unfolds where someone loses their words after hanging out with Alex on the couch. A mysterious and terrifying man appears unexpectedly. Alex is kept outside with one of the man's associates, creating an atmosphere of unease and uncertainty. The mysterious man reveals himself as Alex's father, who has come to complete some kind of procedure with his daughter. The situation becomes more intense as someone named Orion is advised to stay calm and not be intimidated by the henchmen present, who are described as tools meant to create fear. The confrontation continues as it's revealed that the father doesn't know the narrator's true identity, only that they were present during a past incident involving Alex. Standing up to the father, they firmly state that Alex doesn't want to see him and demand he leave with his henchmen. The situation takes an unexpected turn when the father mentions their previous meeting at the Ulysses dinner on the Rockefeller server, catching the narrator off guard. He also brings up a visit to Wyatt's house with Nancy Carter, revealing he knows more than expected about their activities. The conversation deepens into more mysterious territory as the father discusses NPCs who were once real players and hints at the true nature of Eternum. The tension builds as he suggests there's a bigger secret behind everything that's happening. The father expresses disappointment, suggesting the narrator hasn't uncovered enough despite possessing the third weapon of Atlas and only gathering 2 gems of doom. He reveals knowledge about Calypso and makes cryptic references to someone using Orion as an alias.